If you want to be in the gaps against DeJounte Murray right here, you've got to get your back to the baseline and your feet set. See, look at this player right here. His feet are moving inward. That means you have no chance of getting out to Trae Young, who can just rip and go right by you. Here's your problem right here. Kevin Huerter is committing to this switch too early. Okay? De'Aaron Fox, when this player comes off this screen, De'Aaron Fox will be ready to switch. But Kevin Huerter's got to stay guarding DeJounte Murray right here. You're switching now. This player hasn't come off the screen yet. So now De'Aaron Fox is off balance. He's going uphill. DeJounte Murray's going downhill, and that's a problem. All right, so De'Aaron Fox is going to get blown by Trae Young. So that forces a double at the rim. So obviously Keegan Murray's going to have to come here. But Kevin Huerter's going to have to come here, okay? And Harrison Barnes is going to have to get up here. Because on this pass, Kevin Huerter has to be able to guard John Collins. And then this player's got to rotate here. De'Aaron Fox just got beat, so he has to just come to the corner. But Kevin, this is really, 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 really late on this rotation, and now you can't guard John Collins. Kevin Huerter has all the time in the world. He had time before we even saw him in the picture. He still has a lot of time. Get your feet set in a defensive stance. You have to do that if you want to guard Trae Young in the open floor, have any hope. Kevin Huerter never does. Look at it, never. You have no chance now. Now we have an alley-oop. Hey, again, in transition, if you're De'Aaron Fox, you have to sprint back. You have to get your feet set in a defensive stance. This effort, you're just backpedaling. You have no chance of guarding the ball by just backpedaling. Okay, so it looks like the Kings are trying to trap here. Well, you can't come out and trap if there's space here to split through. You got to close this space off here, because if Trae Young splits this trap, it's over as far as this possession. Okay, so we have a cross screen here. Every screen has to be defended the right way, or the possession's not going to end well for the defense. You got to jam A.J. Griffin as he comes through this cross screen so this player can get on the other side. When you don't do that, look at the space. So now there's no chance in defending this down screen, and yeah. Bad switch. I mean, if you're Keegan Murray and you're switching, you got to get underneath the screener immediately. Keegan Murray is just not doing that, so now Kevin Huerter has to step up and backside help, which he should never have to do on a switch, and now the corner's open. Kevin Huerter is going to have to be a little bit more physical on this switch, okay? So you switch on to Murray. Like right now, okay, stop. You got to get into this player's jersey here, and you got to battle for position. Like, look who's initiating the contact here. That's a problem that it's DeAndre Hunter. So already DeAndre Hunter is catching this ball a lot lower than he should be, okay? But again, you still have a chance to guard him, but you got to get up. Like when he tries to make contact with you in the post, you got to make contact with him. And Kevin Huerter is just not doing that. And this is a horrible switch. De'Aaron Fox has got to guard Trae Young up until the screen. You can't anticipate a screen. Look at this. Like De'Aaron Fox is already committed to a switch. That's a problem because Trae Young hasn't come off of this ball screen yet Kevin Huerter's got to jump out now and switch onto Trae Young. So look at this. He's not ready to guard Trae Young. Trae Young still has not come off the screen, but yet De'Aaron Fox is already switching onto the screener. So that's where this happens. Okay, so this is all caused by laziness right out of the bat from De'Aaron Fox. Like, that's just laziness, this space. So it's going to make it really hard now for you to guard Trae Young. So that draws an extra defender now in Domantas Sabonis. So now Keegan Murray's got to drop down and backside help, and that means he's going to be out of position when he has to recover back onto DeAndre Hunter, someone he should never even had to recover to. I mean, De'Aaron Fox just has to sprint back here. You got to get your feet set in a defensive stance, especially against Trae. This is just not going to get it done. Look at this. You have no chance of guarding Trae Young like this. Absolutely none. If you're in drop coverage here and you're Keegan Murray stop, you got to know this screen's coming. It certainly looks like Keegan Murray's surprised this screen's coming because he needs to now get over the top of the screen. Like, you can't just crash into this screen like this because look, you should be way closer here. So, because Domantas Sabonis is about to recover because Trae Young just hesitated here. So, because you're not closer, you're really not able to guard Trae Young yet, and that's not going to work. Harrison Barnes, you got to stay connected to your man, because if your man slips this screen, you got to be able to go with him. Like, look at Harrison Barnes. He's not staying connected to his man. His man just slipped the screen. But you became unattached to your man, and now this is not good. Okay, so the Kings are in drop coverage. Keegan Murray, as you can see right here, is going to have a difficult time guarding the ball. I mean, he just is. He's having to fight over the top of a screen. Okay, so stop. So Keegan Murray you have no chance of guarding the ball like this. So if you're Keegan Murray, you got to play on this player's side. Okay, this player should maybe slide over a little bit in the gaps, but you have help. So play on his side. Force him here. I still have Sabonis here. I'll have this player here. If this player's feet are set and he's in a defensive stance, he can help me by stunting and easily recovering without moving his feet. But you're trying to guard the ball one-on-one now, and that's really not going to work. So I guess this is a switch. So if this is a switch, this Kings player you've already lost. You have to be up here in a defensive stance ready to guard when this player comes off the screen. Okay? You're not. So what this player's doing now, I don't really understand because it certainly looked like he's switching here. Well, you can't now just say, well, never mind, I'm going to try and guard the ball again because Trey Lyles was switching, even though he did a terrible job too. If you're Trey Lyles here and you're in drop coverage, stop. You've got to get in a defensive stance. So right now you got to drop because you have to have your feet set in a defensive stance. You've got to be able, if a pass is made here, you got to be able to rotate to it. Okay? See, look at this. See, you're not in a defensive stance. So your feet aren't set. So if you were in a defensive stance with your feet set like you were supposed to be, this pass gets made, I can easily shift over. But you've given up that ability now. Same thing. So De'Aaron Fox trying to fight over a screen. He has no chance of guarding the ball like this when Sabonis leaves. So stop. If you're this player's got to be over and in the gaps. De'Aaron Fox got to play on DeJounte Murray's side. He's got to be able to force him here. If I don't have to move my feet, I can stunt. I can help out. Without moving my feet, I'll be able to recover back out. But De'Aaron Fox is going to try and guard the ball one-on-one, and that's just not happening. Again, if you're Domantas Sabonis guarding the screen, stop. This is bad. You already lost. You're supposed to be in drop coverage, which means you are dropping underneath the ball, but you're in a defensive stance with your feet set. See, you're not able to you're not able to drop like this. Look at this. You're heading uphill as AJ Green is going downhill. AJ Griffin, sorry, is going downhill. So that's no. So what is going on here? Because Harrison Barnes is switching the screen. Now, Harrison Barnes needs to communicate that, and I don't think he did. Because you can never assume that Davion Mitchell's just going to switch onto your man. So what we have here is Harrison Barnes switching onto a screen. Davion Mitchell apparently just realizing now he needs to switch, and that's bad. Another bad King switch. Stop. Kevin Huerter has got to be getting underneath the screener now. Okay? You have to. You cannot switch over the top like this, because now look. Now De'Aaron Fox has got to stick around for a second longer here in backside help, and now there's no one to take Bogdanovich. I mean, what is De'Aaron Fox doing? You can't guard like this. Your back is to your man, first of all, and this player's dribble is picked up. So your only focus now should just be to get to your man. Why is your focus on the ball still? Because now you're going to be late to get to your man. Look at this. You're not able to guard the ball right now. Look at your feet. So you're done. I mean, again, Sabonis is dropping here in drop coverage, all right? But you have to have your feet set in a defensive stance right now, which you don't. Because you've got to, again, if Trae Young makes this pocket pass here, you've got to be able to rotate back to John Collins. You'll have help in the gaps right here. But again, look at Sabonis here. Feet are not set, not in a defensive stance. He has no chance of rotating on this pass. Kevin Huerter here, this is ridiculous. First of all, it looks like you're complaining about a call. Let's wait for a dead ball to do that. You're guarding the ball right now, and you have plenty of time to get in a defensive stance with your feet set. Apparently, that is not important to you, which means Atlanta's scoring. Bad switch. This player's got to be up to the screener right now, because when this player comes off, you need to be in a defensive stance with your feet set ready to guard, especially with this being Trae Young. Like, look at when Trae Young comes off the screen. Are you ready to guard right now? Are your feet set? Are you in a defensive stance? No, no, and no again.